Hey guys, Deadbolt here with Loot Saga, and this is another Tank Warzone video. Today we're looking at Don't Look Up, a minigame that was created by the Tank Warzone team. And you can find that minigame at don'tlookup.co in case you wanted to follow along. This is one of the main screens that you're looking at right now. This is the part of the game they can call Phase 2, where you shoot the asteroid to blow it up, and then that essentially will end the game and pay out the rewards that they're promising. So before we get into some of the reward mechanics and how to understand your best chances to win and when to get in and how to find out what those are without guessing, because this game might have you guessing a lot if you don't use some tooling to get those answers. Let me, before I get into that, explain kind of what's going on here. I'm going to leave the room. This is the phase 2 part, and you can come in and go to this room as much as you want, even if you were playing. Keep that in mind, so that there's no, I shot a shot off, I'm part of the game. I'm not going to win, of course, because it's too early, but anyway, let me talk about the game a little bit before I get into the chances of winning and how to win the game. And I can attest to those chances because I've tried for science, and I've definitely found a couple asteroid and even won a game in the last few days that this thing has been released. So let's get into what the game is. If you're on this main page, if you went to the don'tlookup.co, you can locate their Medium article with this black and white icon down here, which will explain the details of this game that have been released. And that's what I used to understand it, and then I tested it, and yep, those numbers are pretty factual. So let's go over there quick. So this game is set up into 2 phases. The first phase is finding an asteroid. Once an asteroid, and that button's right here, once an asteroid's been found, you cannot look for another asteroid. You must finish fighting this asteroid before another find attempt can be attempted. So that's why it's phase 1, phase 2, because once one has been found, it moves to the next phase of shooting it, which again is this screen right here. So, finding an asteroid, what does that even mean? Keep in mind, you do not need to play Tank Warzone, the game. You can go to Spooky Swap. This is one of the first things it says, and just get tgold to play this game. So you don't have to have a tank. You don't have to be playing the other game at all. Just go get tgold and go play this game. One thing I do need to say, for all intents and purposes, is this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go play this game. Let me tell you that this game is the closest thing to gambling in the GameFi space that I've seen so far. I'm sure there's straight casinos out there, but this is essentially a game, but it functions very much so like a slot machine. Why am I saying that? Because when you pull that slot machine, it runs a chance to give you a jackpot. It runs a chance to give you a payout. And this is essentially what that's going on here. So in the phase 1, when you're looking for an asteroid, essentially you give them 500 tgold, which is like whatever that conversion is. And that first attempt at looking for that asteroid starts at 0.2% chance. So as you can imagine, that first attempt is going to fail. And unless you're extremely lucky and you've prayed to RNGesus, you're probably going to fail in the first several attempts at finding this asteroid, if not the first 20 attempts, in all truthfulness, to find this asteroid. And each attempt that is made to find that asteroid by each person, and the amount of times they tried to do it, it will stack that 0.2% each attempt that was made. Just to keep that in mind, that is very important to understand, because that's where we're going to key off of these percentages, stacking percentages, on when we should enter the game and attempt to win it with the lowest cost basis possible. I wanted to make this video. You'll probably wait before you're like, hey, wait a second, you're telling me you're going to cheese the game later and you're going to show me how? Yeah, I will. And why do I want to do that? Because I think people are figuring it out. Losing a game because I don't understand the mechanics is not a fun experience. So I think the more people that understand the mechanics of the game it will up the enjoyment factor and just put the reality behind it that this is just straight. I am gambling. I am pulling the trigger amongst other people pulling the trigger, and one of us is going to win. This is a stacking percentage. So per attempt at the game, it will add 0.2% to each attempt, whether that's you, whether that's someone else. So if let's say 3, 5, 6 other people threw an attempt in, you are building on top of what they are doing until this meteor is found. That percentage is capped at 20%. That stacking percentage cannot exceed 20%. So that if it ever reaches there, statistically, kind of impossible. It's a very low chance we'd ever see a 20% number, just statistically. So moving on from there, let's say you did find the meteor. Why are you doing this? What's the point? You get 30% of the total reward after the game ends. And only one player is able to get that, the person who found the asteroid. So whatever that final number is, so as we look in the game in progress, that number is currently up to 105,900. The person who found this, that opened the room here, will get 30% of this final number. Now there's one thing I do want to mention, is that the game is burning tgold, and how they determine how much tgold is burnt is based on what that percentage chance was at the time of that asteroid being found and exploded, which is in the next phase. So what that means is, let's say there were 20 attempts to find the asteroid prior to you finding it. So 20 attempts would then put this percentage at 1, 2, 3, 4% chance to find the asteroid, and you did. That 4% is then deducted from your final 30% of winnings. So 30% base chance, you found the asteroid at a, in this example, 20 attempts later, 4% chance. That 4% is removed from your 30% total payout. That 4% is burnt, and that last 26%. So then in this game, if this game were to end right now, you would get then 26% of this final number. Keeping that in mind, this also does apply to the next section of the game. I'll repeat it, but I wanted to get that idea out there right now that this is applied to both. So we've already covered the two pieces. How many percentage points it will take? Who knows? It's a random kind of thing, you know? Even at 1%, you could hit it. It's chance, right? This is where the gambling part kicks. It's because it's all based on chance and attempts. How many times are you pulling that lever in that slot machine? Let's move on though. We got that going here. We got the percentage chance, what your potential reward would be, what's being deducted from it. That's phase 1. Now let's move on to phase 2, which is very similar to phase 1, but instead you're not looking at finding an asteroid, you're looking at trying to shoot it down, which looks like this. You would be in this screen. And in this screen, you could see you could leave the room, and to preface, you can leave the room at any time. Anything you've done is logged. You can be the last, you could even win the game and not be in the room at that time. It's nothing, you don't have to stay here. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the different rockets that you can shoot at the asteroid. And the other way to win the game is also to just let the timer run out. So this room could either timer run out, or someone actually shoots the asteroid and it blows up. And then the game is over. and the last 70% is then paid out to the players in the second phase of the game. And we'll get into those percentages in a moment here. As you saw at the bottom of that room, there are different prices per rocket. They're also defined in this Medium article. And also what I just said about the game ending, whether the countdown is over or the asteroid is destroyed, the game will end, and it does not change the payouts, percentages, or what you'll get paid out between these two endings. It makes no difference. And also to keep something very keenly noted, these rockets, despite their cost, do not change the chance you have at blowing the asteroid up. Let's look at this line. The chance to bust the asteroid is initially 0.01%, which is about 20 times less than the 0.2% chance for finding an asteroid. The game wants you to find an asteroid to get into this second phase, and it'll take far less transactions, the number of transactions, to find the asteroid. It just statistically, that's how this works out. And again, one of these rockets will always add the same amount of chance and use the same amount of chance that is currently in the game. So same like finding the asteroid, this is a stacking percentage. The first person to shoot that asteroid, despite them paying 5, 3, or 100 tgold, is shooting at a 0.01% chance. And then next 100 players who shoot that asteroid are shooting at basically a sub-percentage chance, because it'll take 100 shots to move that decimal point over to 1%. Keep that in mind. Very key as we move into the next part of the game, where I teach you how to understand, I show you to where you can look with 100% accuracy to know where the game is. At what chance is mine to shoot right now? I will show you that in just a moment once I finish up this reward screen, or the game here, the phase 2 of the part of the game. So again, the game will end with whether the countdown hits 0 or the asteroid is destroyed. Once the game does end, the remaining 70% of those rewards, because remember 30% are going to be paid to the person who found the asteroid, that last 70% is then dished out to the last 3 distinct accounts that shot the asteroid before it blew up, or before it hit 0, that counter hit 0 and it hit the Earth. And I want to key on that it's the last 3 accounts. So someone could have shot the asteroid 20 times in an attempt to cheese it and finish it, and they will be one person. And likely, if they did get that last shot in, they will get 65% of the final 70% of that currency available. And then the person behind them, the next distinct MetaMask account, and this is funny because you can just split this across 3 MetaMask accounts. And okay, before I tell you how to choose this game, let me keep moving here. Anyway, so the last 3 distinct accounts, I want to just make sure that you understand that it won't, just because you're the last one that shot it 3 times doesn't mean you're going to get first, second, last. It is each player that shot them, the last 3 players to shoot the asteroid, and it did blow up, will get that last 70% of the total reward remaining. And just like finding the asteroid, whatever that chance is that the players will blow up the asteroid, whatever that ended at, that will be removed from the top of that reward. So then you'll take 70% of that reward, and let's say the chance to blow it up was at 5%. They'd take 75%, remove 5% of that total payout, and then that last number, whatever that number is then dished out to the last 3 players that shot it at 65, 20, and 15% for first, second, and last. If you have any questions about any of this, remember, you can comment and I will just help you directly. Feel free to comment. There's a lot of information here, so if there's anything that you wanted to understand better personally, feel free to comment on the video and I'll answer. Now, we've covered both parts of the game, phase 1, phase 2. We understand that basically each time we look for an asteroid or shoot an asteroid, we're adding a chance to blow it up or find it, which is the victory. That's what you're trying to do. Now, let me scroll back a little bit and talk about what these second counters are. Because you do not get a better chance at blowing this thing up with increased costs, what these costs are and why they're costing different, that's specifically because the amount of time they add to the end of the game. And why that is important is because when the countdown hits 0, it's going to just pick the last 3 players who shot that asteroid in order as that count hits 0, right? So someone might be like, they might want to sneak in there, be the last one, add only 1 second to the counter, but they're going to have to pay a lot more tgold to do that, to be that last one. So that's, again, the chance, the roll, the gambling, right? So you might ask yourself why am I making this video? If this is gambling, then what's the point of even learning any of this? Let me just go to the machine and pull the lever, right? Well, that's not true. We're out there gambling against people who aren't necessarily gambling. Not the same way that you might be by just looking at the core screen here. We are there. I mean, there are things on here that might help you, and you look at the counter here, for example, the time left counter, and it's down a certain amount or something, and you can think that maybe I'll derive what percentage we're at by that counter or that tgold in the corner. You can take this slot machine and turn it around and see the numbers of when this thing might hit. How? It's fairly simple. We're in crypto, and crypto uses contracts. And those contracts are public. They're not hidden or anything. That's kind of the point of crypto, the transparency. So if you at all spent any money on this mini game, you have a transaction in your MetaMask that has the contract address. If you go to that contract address, you can see literally how many shots have been taken, when they were taken, so you can, if I'm just scrolling through, it might be a little small here, but you can, and then you can not only do that, but you can export this file, put it into an Excel spreadsheet. And I'd already did this for today's game. And you can see there's 51 rows of shooting the asteroid. At 0.1% chance of shooting the asteroid, you stack that percentages. 51 transactions have gone through. If I were to shoot the asteroid right now with one of these rockets, any one of them, I have a 0.1%, 0.5% chance at actually blowing it up. It's not great. It's not great. And now you can maybe start seeing that that's why there's a counter on it. Because as soon as more people understand this, they might not try shooting this thing at all at this point. Because why? At 0.5% chance, at 0.5% chance, and I shoot it 10 times, I have a 5% chance at winning. It's not great. Granted, those 10 times might only cost me 1,000 tgold. It's going to be up to each player to determine what point looks good for you. But if you're not looking at the contract and seeing where the game is at, you're truly just taking a stab in the dark. But also to preface, this is not financial advice by any means, because you still, even at, let's say, a 10% chance, you're not guaranteed to blow it up. You're not guaranteed to find the meteor. You might get to your number and then be out of luck, sadly, because there is still luck involved here in this game of gambling. So what I wanted to do with this video is show everyone that is interested that there is a way to know where you are in this search, and as well as the shoot. The search and shoot are separated, and it's very simple to see where the search ended and where the shooting began, and when the last shooting ended and when the new search began. So you can really get in there and get these numbers going and see what your chances are at beating the game. That's pretty much it, guys. If you guys have any questions about the video, throw me a couple comments. If you have any specific questions about anything, thanks for watching. Deadbolt here with Loot Saga. Do that like, do that subscribe. I'm going to keep cheesing wherever we're at. And if you want me to take a look at your game, that's another thing I guess I never said. If you want me to take a look at your game and that you're playing and identify things to help, cheese or mechanics or anything, throw a comment. I'll go check it out. And maybe I'll make a video out of it. Thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time.